Hey, buddy.
Hey, happy Friday.
Happy Friday, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic,
All right, we're still surviving. You're hanging in there. You're still healthy.
healthy and whole.
All right, good. Well, let's jump in. So today you've got some interesting sales statistics, information, and perspective on Amazon. And
Mhm.
obviously, all the Amazon sellers out there in the world are either loving life or hating
Right,
life. They're worried. So it's all over the place. I mean, it's literally like all the outcomes are out.
yeah,
And
right.
so you've got info, you've got insight, and of course, you've got your own personal
hmm
brands on Amazon. You want to give us
Absolutely.
first maybe just a tiny little bit of personal
Sure.
anecdote about how things are going for you for your Amazon brands, and then talk to us about the larger, community of Amazon third-party sellers.
Yeah, you got it. Our brand, our main brand worldwide is up. I'm going to get you the most recent. We're up 253% from last month. And then I'm up 495% from last year.
Holy smokes! Congratulations, man.
So yeah, so it's been a big jump in terms of top line revenue, and even profitability numbers are better as
Yeah,
well for that. And part of that was due to the fact that we were in stock, which I can talk about why that was the case.
yeah,
And then I think it also has to do with the fact that I was like, let's double down a little bit on some market share and some ranking, and really go after potentially opportunities where competitors may be out of stock or
yeah,
low, and
yeah.
we see if we can sort of get in there and get positioned. So we started pushing in that over the last like
Oh
three
man,
weeks,
you're being a
and
hardcore competitor right now.
I know it's
Brutal.
like, and it's rough, but it's like this is
That's
the
awesome.
opportunity to get positioned. So that's what we're
Wow.
getting into. So, and it's been good, and we've seen growth definitely on the U.S. side and in the U.K. as well.
Okay,
So even
so you gave us a little teaser there by saying that you were in stock and you could talk about why that happened to be the case. You want to break it down a little bit? Now, I know that just as a context here, we're recording this in, April 2020, and obviously, um, the whole coronavirus pandemic thing was started, but there was already the Chinese New Year event that was going to impact all of the supply chain stuff.
right.
So was that part of what was going into your back end,
Yeah,
process?
that was part of it. We were coming out of Christmas and December, and obviously the story out of China was that this was starting to occur even then.
Yeah.
And anytime I get any sense, because most of all of our supply chain currently is in China, or most of it,
Yeah.
and so anytime I get any sort of rumblings of there being a disruption, it's opportunity to say, okay, are we prepared in case we can't order more?
Okay.
And so what I ended up doing was leveraging all of, like leveraging a good portion of Q4 profits
hmm
into making sure we were good for inventory. So
Okay.
we ordered more inventory than what I would need, and we got that on the boat and shipped out before Chinese New Year, before the Lunar New Year in February. So that was my timeline. I was like, we got it. Let's get
Okay.
this on the boat before then, because I want to make sure that that happened.
And it was really the Chinese New Year that began, and then it never. I mean,
It
then
just
it
extended. Yeah,
extended into COVID-19 response
yeah,
lockdown stuff.
exactly. And then it was basically like a month and a half
Yeah.
ish where they didn't have anybody in the factory being able to
Yeah.
respond.
Yeah.
And then there was even there was some like coming back, they were catching up, and
Yeah.
all of the fun stuff that occurs with supply chain. But we already had everything on the boat and in our warehouse in Houston.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I have extra. So I would have been in stock for our best line products. We're not gonna run out. So
So you before we talk about the general state of Amazon sellers and the data you have and kind of how things are going across the board, which I mean you've got insight into that, and we do from having coaching clients as well. Um, just one final little loop on where things lay currently.
Mhm.
If you wanted to restock right now to reorder, have you inquired about getting new inventory?
Mhm.
And is it back to normal totally, or is it slowed down, or what's the deal?
No, it's pretty much back to normal. In fact,
Okay,
I would say they're actually a decline in volume being ordered from China as a whole,
so
because
it's
demand's out. So they're ready to give you, and it's also a good
okay.
opportunity to negotiate with your
Oh,
suppliers
yeah.
because they are, it's not a seller market right now, unless you're in the medical supply space, then it's definitely a seller market.
Yeah.
But it's a buyer's market for
Okay.
that. So keep that in mind.
Wow. Okay. So what are you hearing in terms of the overall third-party seller community on Amazon? What's the latest? What are the latest rules? And you could go on for hours on this, but just the high level, what's the state of the union on third-party FBA selling, and then how are people doing, do you think? Yeah.
For sure. It was definitely some touch and go stuff as a whole, particularly getting inventory into Amazon, because Amazon said that they weren't going to receive any new third-party inventory unless it was deemed an essential product. So there was a time you couldn't even send products. So there was.
Is that time over?
That time is over. Yeah, they're back. They're back opening stuff out. There's still some delays for some categories for the most part. And I don't know if their normal process to do that was through FBA shipments and Seller Central, and Amazon was basically unlocking it through a restock inventory tab where they would list the products that they'd be willing to accept from you through their algorithm, and then you could go in and create shipping plans that way. But that's also lifting as well. So coming back into that, but it definitely had an effect on some. If you were running out of product, that was seen in some of the data that I looked at. Overall, about 56% of sellers that were pulled mid-March, we're seeing a lift in overall sales and demand. And part of that lift was definitely driven by all the people stuck at their house are now online, and they're ordering everything from Amazon. So there was a big push in terms of traffic. Well,
so break down this info for what is this info from? Where did you hear this or get it or whatever? And then like what's kind of general source or whatever, even if you don't have specifics. And then what are the details? Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, so the details came from the Cleveland Research Company, and they did a benchmark survey. It was about mid-March with Amazon sellers. And of that 56%, 16% had seen 100% growth or more, which I'm falling into that category, over normal conditions. Some saw between 13% saw 15% growth of between 50 and 99%. And then about 26% saw an increase between 1 and 49%. 24% saw no change. And then 19% saw a reduction in sales between 1 to 49%.
Wow. So if you're an e-commerce seller on Amazon, averages are you're up.
56% are up. 24% are flat. And then 20% are down. Reduction. With a reduction of 50% or more being 1%. So those are the people that have basically sold out. And they were out of luck for that time. But the overall traffic volume on Amazon was up quite a bit. So if you were in stock or able to fulfill, even if you were able to fulfill as yourself through Fulfilled by Merchant, FBM, you could still pick up some of those sales, even if Amazon wasn't shipping directly from FBA.
All right. So, and then in terms of the overall state of the union for third-party selling, you feel like, word on the street from that community is people are optimistic, pessimistic? Where are people falling emotionally?
I think they're sort of riding on the wind of the increased traffic, right? So I mean, there's a big lift, and you're seeing. The question will be, come June, July, August, Q4, will the consumer confidence still be there? I think for me, I think people are preparing for a lower consumer confidence, probably less buying over Q4. I mean, you can just look at the unemployment rate, the way that got up there. It's going to take a few months, at least, probably more than that. Probably won't be till sometime next year will you'll start to see that come back up. And it might take longer than that. It depends on how long it goes for. So I think from that standpoint, the overall consensus is, we're making some money now, but that may not be the case moving forward in 4, 5, 6 months from now.
Of course, the hope is that, I guess the hope for e-commerce sellers is that this is a pivot to more increased online selling just generally from society. And, the percentages of total retail being e-commerce driven is, those numbers always depending on what survey you look at. But in general, most people would say it's between 9 and 14%. It's like depending on who you listen to and how you look at it. Um, and so, the question is that going to, shift to 15% of total retail or
Yeah.
20% or, whatever. And obviously for people who are in e-commerce businesses, that's good for us.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is very interesting. So you're going to have to keep us posted. Obviously, your
Definitely.
personal success again is absolutely fantastic. Um, I thought we were doing good, and we were up 30% month over month. But your numbers are crazy, dude.
It's been insane. So
So
that,
awesome. So awesome.
I mean, I'm sort of tracking too, like new to brand purchases,
Yeah.
because certain
Yeah.
Amazon metrics will actually, I had a call
Yeah.
today with Amazon, and they were kind of walking me through some of my new to brand purchases and
Oh, so
helping sort
let's
of guide that process around.
let's salt the oats a little bit for the next episode. So in the next episode, we're going to talk about your secret insider conversation with Amazon and a new thing that you're a part of, and
Yep.
how it's going to be awesome, and how it's going to roll out, and you're going to hear about it first
Right
here.
here. Yep.
And
Right here.
so listen to our next session, guys, that we'll put out, and Kyle will break down this new opportunity on Amazon for you. So hopefully that's a good tease. Now, in as a final takeaway, if we can be of any help at all in terms of your selling process for Shopify selling, Amazon selling, if you want to launch a new sales channel, if you want to launch new traffic strategies, we work with coaching clients literally every day, and we get a kick out of it. We were helping people this morning at 6 a.m. launching a big campaign, and we love it. It's fun, and we get to live vicariously a little bit through many people's Shopify stores and that kind of thing, and hear about their brands and see their success. And if you need help, we would love to be of help. And so reach out to us. There's a contact form on Winning on Shopify, and our coaching is by application only. And so we want to make sure you're a good fit for the program, and that we're a good fit for you to be coaches. And so reach out to us if that makes sense. And we'll set up a free, 30-minute conversation, just work through some of the detail and to parse out whether that makes good sense for both sides, and go from there. So anything else for the good of the order, sir? Good.
Have a fantastic weekend, and go crush it next week.
Absolutely. All right. See you, buddy.
Bye.